Life gets better by change. And as we know, change is inevitable. Therefore, we must learn how to handle all of life's different changing seasons, because seasons will come, seasons will go. Some seasons of difficulties, some curveballs, some very beautiful opportunities. But we must learn how to handle all of these life seasons because they're a part of life. Hi there, my name is Tolu Akinyemi. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, I talk about conversations every lady should have with ourselves. I've tagged it Ladies Pep Talk. It's just encouraging videos, encouraging thoughts that can help us as women to rise above limiting beliefs and circumstances to be everything that God has called us to be. So if you're new on this channel, welcome. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like and share the video as well. Just stay tuned till the end. Thank you. And if you're returning, thank you so much for being here. Today, I'm going to be talking about a topic that's dear to my heart, and it's called, or I tagged it, Managing Life's Changing Seasons. Yeah, Managing Life's Changing Seasons. And this is because I've recently gone through, or I'm still going through, some sort of transition. And I don't know if you know how transitions can be, because it just means you had a situation before and you're transiting into something else. That means there'll be lots of uncertainties, there'll be lots of plannings, lots of things to do. And if there was a time earlier in 2023, I said, oh my God, I don't like transitions. That's because there's so many uncertainties. With transitions, or with changing times and seasons, or new beginnings, you feel like, oh, you have expectations. Because that's how we are as human beings. You have expectations, oh, by this time I'll be doing this, this would happen, and all of that. But a lot of times, things may not go exactly as you have planned it. Life could throw you curveballs. Life can just dump something on you, like, oh my God, how do I deal with this? So these are the things. And with each season, the opportunities for growth. With each season, the opportunities for you to learn. There'll be mistakes and all of that. But one thing I realized through my transition season, especially in the early phase, was I was looking at the past like, oh my God, things were way better. I was looking at the past like, I wish. And I know that if God had shown me some of the challenges I was going to face in the new season, I would have said, please count me out. Let me just stay where I am, because our comfort zone is where we love to be. But once you're taken out of it into another season, it takes some time to settle. And that's why I'm having this conversation. I know that transition seasons can be a time, or new beginnings can be a time that can have a huge impact on your mental health as a person. It brought out a part of me that I was like, what's going on with me? I was worried, I was anxious, I was fearful, because it just felt like I'm under pressure, and I'm just wondering what would happen next, what would happen next, what would happen next. It brought a part of me that, in my comfort zone, that felt, oh, things are going fine, everything will be all right. But in this situation where it seemed like I was under pressure, I was like, it brought up that part of me. And I think what life's changing season does is that it brings out a part of you that you didn't know was there. And it's an opportunity for you as an individual to grow and learn through that process. That's why we're having this conversation. Life can throw you curveballs, but what you do with it determines the future. A lot of times it even determines how you're going to get out of it. We already know curveballs will come. It's just like when it was almost time for winter. I had to go out, start bringing out all the winter jackets and everything, put them in the laundry. I had to bring them out because I was preparing for that season. How do we prepare for situations? A lot of times we don't envisage that, oh, curveballs will come. Of course, we don't do that. One way to prepare is to build an intimacy with God during that, when things seem to be all right, because it should be a lifestyle. I realized that I wasn't trusting God enough. I've not let go And that is one lesson that this period has taught me. Trust God with my life. Trust God with the process. Because at the end of the day, He has said, I love you. He has said, my thoughts towards you are thoughts of good. And I'm saying this to you as well. I'm not coming from a place where, oh, I figured it out. Any changing season, bam, 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 bam. I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to, I'm going to be all right. I'm coming to you from a perspective that everything I'm saying to myself as well. So I want you to think about it. Have I really let go? Can I allow God and trust Him with my life's journey? Can I trust Him that regardless of what is happening, everything will fall in place, all things will work together for my good? Because I've learned on this journey that God can indeed be trusted. God can be trusted on this journey. Curveballs will come, but there's comfort in knowing that Jesus loves me. He will make a way. Even when it seems everywhere is blocked and I can't figure it out. One thing I've learned again is that the progress I saw, I couldn't have planned it. The growth I saw, all my strategy and plan would never have been as perfect as what God did for me. I may not go into specific details, but that is one lesson I've drawn out from. I'm like, oh my, all my planning couldn't have been as exact and as precise as this. So I'm going to let go and trust God, who knows how to plan properly, who knows the end from the beginning. I have to let go and trust Him. It might be scary, and I'm saying this to you, lady out there who may be listening, or man who is watching this video. Learn to trust God. There will be different seasons. The same way winter will not last forever. Summer will not last forever. That difficult season that you are going through will not last forever. There are times and seasons. Now look at, as a young person, probably you had to go to school, you got to a certain age, before you knew it, you're already dating. Another season, and then you learn, oh, you and your partner would fight. You learn to resolve it at a point where, oh, we've gotten to know each other even much more better. And before you know it, bam, we're getting married, and you realize, oh, the person I was dating is different from the person I'm married to. It's just like when I just got married. It got to a point I was like, oh my God, Tolu Adeyanju is different from Tolu Akinyemi, because I'm Tolu Akinyemi now. I used to be Tolu Adeyanju. It's different because I'm growing. My needs are changing. My life is not just about me now. It's about us. So there are lots of changes that life will bring. If you are a mom, if you've been a mom before, throughout pregnancy, it's always one thing or the other. Second trimester, you feel you've gotten a hang of it. Third trimester, boom, just comes to knock you out. And then that is done. The baby comes, is another season. At the point you feel like, oh, I've gotten a hang of nursing the baby. Oh, I know he sleeps at this time and everything. A few months down the line, baby starts showing you different traits and you're like, what do I do with this now? That's another season. When they are toddlers, later they will grow beyond that point. They now go through a point where you need to start teaching, you need to start correcting, you start seeing traits, and like the Bible says, foolishness is the heart of a child. It's bound in the heart of a child. And you see things that, oh, I need to correct. I'm like, oh my God, that's another phase. I was talking to a grandma recently, and she was sharing her experience trying to raise her grandchildren, trying to step back when it's her children's life, because she has to let them also live their lives. She has lived hers, she's still living hers, she still has dreams and aspirations. I'm like, at the point I blotted out to her that seasons don't stop. She said, yes, we're in different seasons. Even as a grandma, she still has other things, different seasons that are coming to her, different levels of ministry, different things coming up. Our lives keep unfolding. They keep unfolding. And if you cast your mind back on things you've been through, you'll be like, oh, there was a time that things were so difficult and it seemed like I wasn't going to get through this. A lot of times we don't think back at the things we've gone through. We need to build a memorial around those things. Oh my God, this has happened. After I got married, the next month, I lost my job. It was short. I couldn't believe it. Like, what is going on here? I didn't envisage this. Was God trying to tell me something? What is this? What is that? I was trying to figure out. And really, I know God had been whispering some things to me that I didn't pay attention to. And that season just came on me, boom, like that. We have to cast our mind back. If I overcame that, what is it now that I'm going through? What is it now that you are going through that God can see you through? Is it a health challenge? Is it a challenge with your children? Is it a challenge at work? You know, it's a different ball game entirely if you're going through transition from one career to the other. I saw something like the price of entry is embarrassment, because you have to behave like, if you don't behave like a fool, I can't remember exactly how we said it, but it's let me just say it the way I understand it. When you're new in a field, you have to be willing to be embarrassed so that you can go through it. A friend shared with me, he was on a job before, was doing well, decided to change to another company, higher pay and all of that. And he got to that place and there was a particular thing he did. He asked somebody else to sort of supervise him as he was doing it, so he could, because he needed to adjust to the system they were using, which was different from that which they were using in his previous company. So he did some things, both of them did not get it. So the person he told to supervise him asked him to call somebody else who was like probably a head or something, or like a counterpart with this person who supervised him. So he made a phone call and said, oh, we are struggling with this. And then the person came and he started blasting him. How could you have done this? How could you have done that? He blasted him so much until this one said, we did it together, and he kept quiet. So if it was this other person, the supervisor, that did it, he wouldn't have shouted that way. Okay, because it's this newbie, who are you? What are you doing here? He blasted him. That's not right. But there are lots of things you may have to tolerate when you're in a new season, in a new space, when you're transitioning. People can be very funny, treat you anyhow, talk to you anyhow, and in your mind, they're like, oh my God. You're like, if I put you in your place, sometimes you may be tempted to think, do you know who I am? Do you know where I'm coming from? It's the price you pay. Because you have to be willing to be embarrassed. You have to be humble enough to learn so that you can thrive in the new position that you occupy. But trust me, it's not the easiest of things. If you've been through any kind of transition, you would understand, because it takes more. You have to take more time to learn. You have to listen. You have to be able to take feedback. You have to be able to sieve the constructive part of the feedback, take that and throw the one that sort of insults your person. You have to learn to do all of those things. But even in the midst of that, know that it's never going to last forever. It's a price we have to pay for learning. So through these life-changing seasons, let me talk about contentment. Contentment. I shared earlier that when I was in the early phase of the transition I just went through, I was looking back. I kept looking back like things were much better. But I soon learned to be contented with whichever phase I am in. I learned contentment from that time when I said I lost my job, which was something I didn't really prepare for. But I learned to be contented. When I had abundance, I learned to be fine. When I didn't have abundance, I learned to be fine. So you have to be contented. Whilst you are looking forward to what you really want and desire, it's not a time for you to start looking at other people's lives and comparing yourself to them. Oh, I wish I could afford this. Oh, I wish I could afford that. No, it's not time for that. It's time for you to sit down. There will always be a time of abundance, but learn to be contented with what you have. Learn to be contented. Where you are right now is exactly where God will have you be. If you can learn to take that in, it gives you a different perspective. Because at the end of the day, our mental state, how we think, is just based on the perspective, the way we are seeing things. If you think about something and it's making you depressed, is making you worried, it's because of the perspective that you have. If there is a change in perspective, you see things differently. If I'm struggling with this season, why is it that this has to be there? Why is it that this has to be there? And probably God just shines his light and says, oh, I'm taking you through this process because of the plans I have for you. Because I want you to be able to handle this and be able to teach other people how to handle it. You will see a shift in perspective. It doesn't take the challenge away, but it makes you see things differently. It sort of makes you relaxed and go through it with a different mindset. So at the end of the day, it's all about perspective, how you see things. So please and please learn to be contented with what you have, contented with your spouse. You can always strive for better intimacy, strive for excellence, improvement, and all of that, but from a place of contentment. Because if you are not contented, you become desperate. You can do anything. You can do anything. Throw people under the bus because you want to shine. No. Learn to be contented with what you are, what you have. And also, transition seasons, they are not bad. New beginnings are not bad. You know that sometimes, maybe you want to relocate to another state. You are happy. Oh yes, we're going to live in a new house. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And you get there and things don't go exactly. You know, sometimes when you are ushered into a new beginning, you are so happy, but you don't envisage some of the curveballs and challenges that may just come like that. Like, what's going on here? What's going on here? You might not envisage all of those things. But in those moments, you must realize that it's for your character development. It's for building you. You would have heard people say, oh, skill can get you into the door. This can get you up here. But your character is what sustains you. God loves us. He loves us too much to leave us the way we are. There was a time I had to take feedback at work, and it wasn't the easiest of things. I can assure you. I went back home in tears. But I saw it as, I won't take this as an attack on my person. I will sit with it and see what exactly is the lesson from here and adopt it. Adopt it into my work style. Because we all have blind spots. We don't see everything about ourselves. So if you can learn that whatever situation I'm going through is for my character development, because life will bring different seasons, it will bring different lessons to you, but it's all for your character development. It's all for character development, because you see people behave somehow. It's all for your character development, because as you go through seasons, you're learning patience, you're learning forgiveness, you are learning contentment, you are learning how to manage resources. You don't know where God is taking and how much wealth is going to commit in your hands. You're learning to manage resources. You are learning to manage people. When you just find yourself in a team where everybody is just behaving anyhow, you are learning to manage people. There's no experience that is a waste. That's another perspective. There's no experience that is a waste. At all, no experience is a waste. So see it as God is bringing out life seasons, bring out character development. It modifies you, molds you, it shapes you. It's like going through the fire. It purifies you and makes you a more refined version of who you are now, to be who God. It's like God sees you as here, but in reality, you are still here. He sees you as here, and then you need to rise up to that level. So you may have to go through some purification, some tearing, some things like that, till you become, as I said, till you become. I remember there's a video I did recently. There's never an end to becoming. There's never an end to becoming. So that's it. And then as we talk about changing season, one last thing I would like to talk about is having support systems, building support systems. I remember through my transition, I have friends. I have one in particular that I could share with. Like, this is what I'm going through. There was a time my internal dialogue was not good. The conversations I was having with myself, I had to, talk to her like, I don't know what is going on. She said, Tolu, this is unlike you. This is unlike you. But she was able to hold my hand. We have to learn to build that support system. Your spouse, specific friends in your life, your family, people that can still hold your hand, that love you wholeheartedly. And we must learn to be that to other people as well. Because life and relationship is about give and take. If you keep giving and you don't receive, you will burn out. So we must learn to give that same support to others whilst you have that as well. I wish sisterhood upon every woman, like having that close bond. You don't have to have too many people in your circle, but specific people. I bless God for that. There are some people in my life that I can share with. Because life is life. We need people. We can't do it alone. I hope throughout this video, you've picked one or two things that you can apply in your life as well. Managing life's seasons, having a different perspective to your situation, learning to be contented, having a perspective that everything I'm going through now is building character in me. Because you are light and you must shine that light. Everything you're going through is building character, and then having support systems, deliberately, intentionally pouring into others, letting them pour into you as well. I hope you've learned one or two things. So thank you for waiting till the end. Please don't forget to like and share this video, and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much. Until I see you again next week. Bye for now.